Hi, everyone, and welcome to the weekly rewind with Beyond the Matches. The space is specially curated to talk about the psychological aspect of the game, along with summarizing the IPL matches happening in the week, talking about the analysis and the key players or the impact players, and doing a short, quick question and answer round where you get to ask us questions and we answer them for you. And today, on the second episode of Weekly Rewind with Beyond the Matches, we have Vedant, Vaibhav, Shubham, and Prakha joining us. So, Shubham Kulkarni is currently pursuing his BTech in computer engineering at NIT Surat, and he runs his own blog and is also a stats analyst at Beyond the Matches. Vaibhav Tripathi is a life sciences student who is into freelance writing. Currently, he's writing for 4 websites and runs a podcast as well. He's a diehard fan of Chennai Super Kings and is also a member of the Whistle Army, the official fan group of Chennai Super Kings. Prakhar Sachdev is a sports buff and he mainly types of live sports for earning and is also a proud CSK supporter. Vedant Vashist, as he describes, is an amateur runner in the morning, lawyer by the day, and a sports writer in the night week. So this week has given us a lot of thrillers, a lot of last over games, and really some good swings of pendulum of pressure. And as we talk about pressure, we have seen that the newcomers as well as the veterans have all been put under pressure at different modes. And we have seen that the youngsters, despite not having as much experience as the main players, have really stepped up in their roles. And it is immensely proud of all the cricket fans to see the bowlers playing the mental game and not just the batters finding the gaps and pulling one over the bowlers. To see them set the field, to see them spin the web and actually create moments of uh, taking a wicket really makes us feel so happy to see them in the process. So this week, it was mainly about how you handle pressure, how you overcome pressure, and how you believe in yourself despite the external factors affecting your game. So after this week, the points table looks something like this. We have the two new debutant teams, that is Gujarat Titans and Lucknow Super Giants, leading the points table with 8, and joining them in the party is Royal Challengers Bangalore, followed by Rajasthan Royals, Punjab Kings, Kolkata Knight Riders, and Sunrisers Hyderabad at 6 points, followed by DC at 4 points, Delhi Capitals at 4, and CSK, who opened their winning account in this week against Royal Challengers Bangalore with 2 points at the ninth position, whereas MI still remains at 0 with no wins recorded in this season. So, as we have seen that the teams as a whole have done a lot, but there are some really good key players that have stood out for their teams and really changed the game. So, we will start with Vedant, asking him about his key player for this week.
Right. So thank you for having me on this. So for me, this particular week, Dinesh Karthik stood out with his performances. Even today, just after we are recording, after the match has happened. So if we trace back how the Dinesh Karthik thing happened, like he got into team in 2014 or 2014 in 2004 in England, played as an opener, then went back, then came back as a middle order batsman. Then for in the T20s for India, he was batting as a floater. Then KKR got him in 2018. He was used as a floater, batting at 3, 4, and 5. No specific position, no definite role given to him. We could see that he was struggling. In fact, he was even dropped from the captaincy as well. And ever since he has gotten, like from 2018 in the Nidhas Cup, wherein he scored the last ball six, I believe like he has multiplied and has grown as a finisher. And that can be also seen through his batting records. Like before 2018, his stats says like he scored at 150, batting at the place of batting as a finisher, an average 16.6. But ever since Nidhas Cup, the average has gone to 34.8, and the strike rate has also increased to 171. Even today, like if you go to the IPL and check out for this season, he has a strike rate of 202, batting at 6, with a particular role given to him. Like we could see in the Rajasthan Royals match, the wickets kept falling, and David Willey was sent ahead of him. Shahbaz Ahmed was sent ahead of him to make sure that he bats in those last 5 overs where he has the most impact for the game or for the team. and Anga has been able to improvise and maximize. Like in today's game, we could see that he was targeting the shorter boundaries, even though Mustafa Rahman was bowling outside his leg or outside off stump. He was moving ahead, shuffling across the side, across the crease, and hitting those reverse sixes, which hits, and even going down the ground. Like there was a good stat which showed that outside the off stump, with generally ballers believe like it's a weak zone for a batsman. Dinesh Karthik has a strike rate of 300, like crazy. Have never seen this before. Like for the widest part, like even after the wide line, he scores those runs at a strike rate of 300. For me, for this particular week, Dinesh Karthik has stood out, and that is it from my side.
Definitely, Dinesh Karthik has still kept the hopes alive for the RCB fans. And with that, we move on to Prakhar, who, according to you, had been the key player or impact player for this week.
Okay, so this recording will sound very harsh for KKR fans because my key player for this week is Kuldeep Yadav, another ex KKR player who moved out of KKR and has shifted bases, and he has moved out of KKR and now he's now playing in Delhi Capitals jersey. And last Sunday was a great match for him against his former team KKR when he picked 4 wickets, and for more than two to three seasons he started off as he started off as one of the frontline spinners. He's actually a product of IPL. He used to play for KKR as one of their frontline spinners, but then his form took a dip. He got injured, and then he got sidelined. And eventually, Varun Chakravarti overtook him as one of the second spinners in the regular playing 11, and he was sidelined. And for past 3 seasons, he never really got a regular starts in KKR. And this season, Delhi Capitals the team is promising regular starts for him, and he's uh, repaying the faith. And he picked 4 wickets, and most importantly, that moment when he took that catch, that catch will be one of the top catches of this season. And the emotion and the aggression that Kuldeep Yadav showed. And remember, let us just remember one thing: we don't relate Kuldeep Yadav as a good catcher or a good fielder, but he threw himself uh, to take that catch off his own bowling to prove a point that this playing in IPL meant so much for him, and that yes, now that Delhi Capitals is giving him a regular start, so and he wants to be there and he wants to be in contention. All these fringe players, all these fringe Indian players are battling for that squad that will travel to Australia later this year. And like Dinesh Karthik said just now in the match that concluded, that he is targeting. He very upfrontly he told Kuldeep Yadav did not tell upfront, but Dinesh Karthik told that he has plans for India, making a comeback for India. But and Kuldeep Yadav being a shy player, he has not been that outspoken, but he's making his ball do all the talking. And for me, he is one of the more. If Delhi are struggling for the moment, and if there's one key X factor player or key player who can turn things around for them, is Kuldeep Yadav. And yes, whenever we talk about Kuldeep Yadav, I just keep on dreaming about that ball that he bowled in 2019 World Cup to Babar Azam, one of the best modern day batsmen, which cleaned him up. Like just for the viewers of this video, just go and go on YouTube and watch that ball that he bowled to Babar Azam. Babar Azam was pressing forward, and the ball just beat the inside edge of the bat and beat the pad, and it knocked the off stump, if my memory serves me right. And that that was peak Kuldeep Yadav. And since then he went down, but we are seeing a resurgent Kuldeep Yadav. And I would seriously love to see Kuldeep Yadav back in Indian colors and travel to Australia. And yes, Kulcha should be back. Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal and troubling the Australians, the world champions. And we know Australians have a weakness against spin. So the spin duo of Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal should be a problem for them. And yeah, so Kuldeep
Yeah,
Yadav was my player for the pick.
we definitely do
Right.
want to see
Just
Kuldeep
wanted
and
to add
Chahal there.
something what
Yes,
Prakhar
with that.
said. Like I feel like when the KKR when thing happened na, he was dropped. I believe उसने बहुत मेहनत करी यार उस पे. मतलब you see he has become far
Yes.
more quicker. And I was yesterday only watching Cricket with Ash's tweet, wherein he's mentioned that before the run-up used to be slightly roundish. Now it has become much straighter, and the non-bowling arm, which was going outside, has come much straighter in the line. Gives him that extra speed which we requires. Earlier he used to be kind of a float spinner who used to bowl loopy leg spins. Now he's
Hmm.
become much more flatter, has a quicker one, has a slider. That I feel कि केकेआर ड्रॉप होने के बाद ही रियलाइज कि भैया गेम में कुछ चेंजेस लाने चाहिए. एंड आई फील कि वो बहुत पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट उस पर भी रहा है कि मतलब नॉट ओनली कि नेगेटिव भी था कि ठीक ऑब्वियसली ड्रॉप किया गया था बट द पॉजिटिव द वे ही हैज एनालाइज्ड दैट नेगेटिव इनटू पॉजिटिव ऑन वर्किंग ऑन हिज प्लेयर एंड ऑन हिज बॉलिंग दैट हैज बीन रेवलेशन फॉर मी हिम एज वेल एज प्लेयर.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about how you see it, right? Like if you see the setback as an opportunity to challenge yourself and change, you definitely get back rolling. So, which brings me to get Shubham into the conversation. Shubham, who according to you was the impact player for this week?
Yeah, so after the auction, if there was one team which looked really weak on paper, it was the Gujarat Titans. But Hardik Pandya, after leading from front, has ensured that Gujarat Titans is right at the top of the points table. There was a lot of trolling around Hardik Pandya because of his fitness 6 months earlier after the World Cup, where he got dropped and he wasn't picked for many tours. He wasn't playing anything. He wasn't playing international cricket. He wasn't part of the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, and he trained and trained. And right now, believe it or not, he is one of the top leading run scorers in the IPL. He got the orange cap, albeit for 10 minutes because Josh Butler got it back in 15 minutes once his innings started, smashing 54 of 24. But Hardik Pandya smashing 250s back to back, 50 of 42 and then 87 not out in a crucial situation where they were 15 for 2 against the Rajasthan Royals, and they won that game. Not only that, he's also taking wickets, taking crucial wickets, bowling overs in the power play. He's bowling 4 overs, which is very important for his fitness, and he's also fielding well. He got the run out of Sanju Samson the other day with the middle stump knocking over. In fact, the stump was broken, so they had to replace it with a new one. So all this is going in favor of Hardik Pandya. He's doing brilliantly, and I think he is the player to watch out for in the upcoming matches as well. Because if he keeps going, he's definitely traveling to Australia. Because with the skill set he has, he should be in that top six for India.
Totally. So we now have Dinesh Karthik, Kuldeep Yadav, and Hardik Pandya all coming back into the squad, hopefully. So, which brings me to the last one, Vaibhav, making you join the conversation here. Who, according to you, is the impact player for this week?
First of all, thanks for inviting me, and thanks for the lovely introduction as well. And I'm super excited to make my debut today for HE for the BTM channel. And I'm hopeful that as a debutant, you guys will make my life easier. So yeah, this makes me come back to your question. So who was the player whom I look forward in the gone by week? So it was Shivam Dubey, of course, because he was one of the main reasons why, alongside Robin Uthappa and Mahesh Theekshana, why CSK won their first game. So we broke the jinx because we lost all the games up to that point, and Shivam Dubey actually helped us to win that game. Of course, this was the innings of 95 not out. He batted throughout 20 overs, right? So not from not throughout the 20 overs, but from the point he came, and he batted all the till the last ball. He was dropped off the last ball, but that is a part and parcel of the game. So what really has changed for Shivam Dubey? Because in the last 2 seasons, last season he played for RR, and before that he played for RCB. He has the reputation of a big hitting all rounder, but he hasn't lived up to the expectations up till now. But now, what has changed in Shivam Dubey's game? If you clearly observe what he did right in last game was first thing, he has worked on his technical aspect. First thing is the balance. The balance, if you look, the cleanliness in the shot, the posture that he's maintaining, the positions that he's getting into is very good. Because the if your balance is not good, then you are not going to complete the shot and you will be caught on the boundary. As simple as that. So he's maintaining a good posture. His balance is upright. Second thing, his gameplay on the offside has improved a lot, and a large share of credit should be given to Michael Hussey for that. Because last year and before that also, if you'll think about Shivam Dubey, then all you can think is a wild slogger who will give it a slog on the leg side. That that's all. But now what Shivam Dubey is doing is he's timing the ball as well. In one of the games, I can't claim it. I think it was against the Punjab Kings. First ball he played was a check drive through the offside for four. It was during the power play over. So that has what has transpired in his game. So Michael, the gameplay against offside on the offside has improved a lot in Shivam Duvin's batting. Third and most important thing is the targeted bowlers. Like he has said on record that MS has helped him a lot behind the scenes to improve his game. So what MS would suggest any batter would, it's not about you going after every bowler. What Shivam Dubey used to do is he used to get after every bowler to score runs. But now what he's doing in this season is he's targeting his bowlers. This is, I think, the biggest piece of advice MS must have given to him, that target your bowlers. And that's what he did in the game against RCB. He targeted Akashdeep, he targeted Glenn Maxwell, and he targeted Wanindu Hasranga. Hasranga is not really effective against the left-handers. Even today, I saw how he was bowling to Rishabh Pant. He was bowling all the white stuff. So that's what he targeted his bowlers. So that's the biggest change what I have observed in Shivam Dubey's game. And it's all about the mindset. He is having also CSK, credit to the CSK management as well, because even after having two bad seasons, they have entrusted him with the responsibility that you are going to give us the middle over acceleration that is much needed in a T20 game. And that's why he's been given the promotion in the batting order. And the promotion has helped him a lot because Moeen Ali has not fired yet. And that's why Shivam Dubey's role in this team has become far more important than what we thought it would be before the start of the season. So I think up till now, Shivam Dubey is doing well, and fingers crossed that whatever he has done till now, he'll continue the same run of form in the future games as well. So I wish him all the luck.
Definitely. And before we move on to our next section, that is question and answer round, let's not forget Odion Smith, who actually was smashed for the maximum by Rahul Teveta in the last two balls of his last game. And in this one, he just packed himself up, I think. And all of us, not just me, all of us just thought that, okay, this is an easy over. We can probably see, am I winning this one? But it was him who actually held his nerve pretty much stronger than any of the batter and any of the fielder out there. Like he was bowling to the field, he was focused, he was giving the right lengths, he was giving in the right arc for the wicket. And to see him do that, to see him not take the pressure, like we discussed in our previous episode, that if he takes the pressure of that, he's not going to give his best, right? So that is something that made me think that if all of us see it from a different perspective on this one, we can see that all of us can literally give a comeback in any time we want. It's all about how we perceive our loss to be. So for me, he has been the key player and the impact player for this week, because this week was all about comebacks and we did see everyone making comeback in their own way. So moving on to our last section, that is the question and answer session. We will have questions from the fans. And the first question is from Mukesh Srivastava on Twitter. He says, like, what a captain like Rohit can do when nothing seems to be working for Mumbai Indians. Prakhar, would you like to answer this one?
Okay, there are most 6 losses in 6 matches. Most of the things are not going right for Mumbai Indians as of now. But most importantly, Rohit Sharma needs to deliver with the bat. Uh, Team should realize, and everyone around Mumbai Indians and Mumbai Indians fans should realize that Rohit Sharma is first a batter, more importantly an opener, and then he is the captain. He has not been contributing runs at a regular interval, and it has been a long time since we have seen a 50 from Rohit Sharma in IPL. So, firstly, he should back himself, lead from the front, and get a big 50. That will relieve immense pressure from the middle order, and that will give confidence to other batters. And let's not be too underconfident about Mumbai Indians batting. We saw today they have a pretty good batting lineup. It is just that Mumbai Indians are not getting a regular start, a good start, and that's because Rohit Sharma is getting out early. So, firstly, he should back himself, and very soon he should get that 50 and get a big inning. And secondly, he should look towards bench. Yes, Kyron Pollard showed a glimpses of what he can do today, but not. But Pollard doesn't deserve a regular spot in the playing 11. He could swap Pollard for Tim David. Mumbai Indians have invested heavily on Tim David, and maybe give Pollard some time to rest and bring Tim David uh, in the playing 11. He could do that, and most importantly, like I'm not sure uh, how Mumbai Indians fan listening to this video will take this will take this, but I remember some 3 to 4 seasons back, Delhi Daredevils, what Delhi Capitals were earlier known as, were off to a horrible start, like around 6 losses in a row or 7 losses in a row. And Gautam Gambhir used to lead them. And when he saw that he's not able to lead the team, what he did, he stepped down from the captaincy and he made Shreyas Iyer the captain. And look what Gautam Gambhir did. It it gave IPL and Indian cricket a superstar like Shreyas Iyer. Sure, Shreyas Iyer could not uh, do much taking over the captaincy midway through the season, but yeah, IPL and Indian cricket got a superstar and a future captain, maybe a future Indian captain. So if things are not going right and if Rohit Sharma is feeling the pressure or feeling the burden of captaincy, no big deal. He can sidestep it. There are maybe there might be a future captain in for say Surya Kumar Yadav, and maybe and then Rohit Sharma may be able to perform well with the bat as well. So there are few things that Rohit Sharma could do. So yeah, and hopefully very soon Mumbai Indians are able to get their first win with Rohit Sharma getting a big knock.
Yeah. So we all do really hope that happens. Interesting point out there, Prakhar. And let's move on to our next question, which is by Arjun on Twitter. He says, like, should RR look to play Nisham or Mitchell regularly in the playing 11 since their team balance isn't quite ideal on the paper? Shubham, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I kind of agree with Arjun there because what they can do is they can bring in one of Nisham or Darren Mitchell in the number 6, number 7 position because as it is Rassi van der Dusen who bats in the middle order hasn't performed in the first two opportunities which he has got and they have as he mentioned they have the problem of number 6 number 7 because Parag bats at 6 and then you have Ashwin at 7. He's not an ideal 7, so they are pushing Ashwin at number 3 like they did in the last game so that their batting order looks deep. But in reality, it's not that deep. So what they can do is bring in Daryl Mitchell, who looks like an underrated player, and he scored a crucial 50 in that semi-final against England, where he took on Adil Rashid and Chris Jordan towards the end and won that game for New Zealand. So definitely Mitchell can give those 2 overs as well so that will bring the team balance for Rajasthan Royals. So they are winning, so that's not a big issue. But if they want to fill in those holes, Daryl Mitchell or James Neesham could be a good option there.
Mm. Okay, anyone wants to add anything here?
Yeah, just one small point. If you allow me, and then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
sure.
go ahead with it.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, go ahead.
So just one thing that considering the composition that RR has, and that the composition has given them the result. So I think the top order looks pretty much sorted. The
Mm-hmm.
top order is like giving runs, so top order is productive. And if you are playing Daryl Mitchell, then he has to bat as an opener or at three. He shouldn't be dropped below that number. Okay. So now, what I would say, what my opinion is, Jimmy Neesham should play all the games alongside Riyan Parag because they need that lower middle order to fire, and that
Mm.
will make their chances of playoffs to come again. So I think Jimmy Neesham should play all the games. Daryl Mitchell, like if they want to try, they can try, but it's like their top order is performing, so they need someone in the lower
Mm.
middle order, someone like Jimmy Neesham, to come and give that firepower. Also, he can give a few overs if the track is like up and down. So I think that's a good option. Thank you.
Right.
Vedant?
So I also wanted to add something. Like there is a misconception around like Rajasthan's top order is firing. Basically, it is Josh Butler who is actually taking the team through to the 20 overs, right? Sanju Samson hasn't performed after the first match, if you see. That was a quick fire 50, and after that, as Sanju Samson happens with Sanju Samson, as the season progresses, his performance also gradually decreases. With regards to what Shubham said, like with Rassi and Vander Dusen being coming in, going out for Darren Mitchell, I also agree because see, Vander Dusen has a strike rate of 117, right? If we look into T20, we should consider strike rate paramount rather than the average. We need players who have much more impact rather in since few balls. And when we compare that, like Vander Dusen has a strike rate of 117 when he plays for South Africa at number 4, whereas Darren Mitchell in T20 internationals has a strike rate of 136, same batting position. Plus the dot ball percentage with regards to Darren Mitchell is 27% across 22 innings, gives Rajasthan an extra bowling option. And I also would disagree that Jimmy Neesham should play like we saw in the last match. He isn't quite a bowler who can actually bowl those 3 overs or 2 overs just to make sure like fifth bowler or fifth bowling option is complete with Riyan Pera. They need someone who can actually contain those runs. They can try Darren Mitchell. If he fails, they have more players um, which can actually help them in doing like McCoy is playing for which team? Rajasthan, I'm assuming.
He's for RR. He's
Yeah,
playing for RR.
He's in RR, right? He can actually replace Jimmy Neesham for RR, and Rassi Van der Dusen can come in for. Darren Mitchell can come in for Rassi Van der Dusen. That is what I believe. The top order isn't firing; it is only Josh Butler. I would again say that there is a misconception around it. Yeah. So these are my point around like whether Neesham should play or Darren Mitchell should come in for Rajasthan to actually manage to get more wins as the season
And
progresses.
Mm.
the last bit, we Rajasthan Royals can afford all the luxuries only if only if they dare to make Trent Bolt sit out. Let's not
Exactly.
forget Jimmy Neesham came in
Came in
because Trent Bolt was injured,
Trent Bolt.
and once Trent Bolt is fit enough, he and he's an unmissable bowler. And Rajasthan
Mm.
Royals bowling looked without Trent Bolt, and Trent Bolt is a must in any playing 11 of any T20 team. So all these players, one of the foreign players will go out, and Trent Bolt will come in, and Trent Bolt is a must in Rajasthan Royals bowling lineup.
Yes, that's there. So, interesting points out here with the selection of RR, which,
One
yeah.
last point. One last point. See, the selection of Darren Mitchell is like he hasn't bowled a lot in T20 career. Even in the T20 World Cup, he hasn't bowled a lot as compared
Mm.
to Jimmy Neesham. And in T20 cricket in shorter format, Jimmy Neesham is a much more preferable option with the ball than Darren Mitchell, and he has got that power. Neesham in the last few months has improved a lot with his bat, with his batting part. So I think that's why I said if you need a because in some way or the other their top order looks sorted. Okay, so in one game or the other it will go wrong, but their lower middle order, their finisher, they lack a finisher. Now Rahul Trivatia is not there for them to save. Now Rian Parag is like he will do well in one game, he will miss out in the next. So I think they should give more chances to Jimmy Neesham, considering that he's been a regular part of the New Zealand 11 and he has got that thing that he can do both parts as compared to Daryl Mitchell. Daryl Mitchell is like more of a batting all rounder since his Test 100, and bowling is like his second part now. And he hasn't bowled. To be honest, he hasn't bowled a lot in the last few months in the shorter format. And if you will consider both things, then Nisham is a much more preferable option for me.
People are
Yes.
forgetting that they have Simran Hetmeyer, है ना, in their playing 11, who has been firing with a strike rate 248, has been playing as batting at 5, playing across the innings from 12 overs to 20 overs in majority of the innings that he has played. Can be a good finisher for them as well while chasing. They haven't got chances where they have to chase. They have defended their totals. That regarding the chasing part, they will see when they have to actually chase. Uh, for that, they have. That is it from my side.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. I think the RR selection has kept us on our toes in this discussion. So we move on to our next question, which is again for Mumbai Indians. This question is by Robin on Twitter, who says that shouldn't MI drop Pollard and bring in Team David, as it's now do or die for them. Pollard has been below average for them. So, Vaibhav, your thoughts?
First of all, hello Robin. Hope you are doing well at your end. And coming back to your question, Kyron Pollard, yes, he hasn't been that effective till now. Yes, we haven't seen the best of Pollard yet, but I'll still say that give that because Kyron Pollard is a senior pro. He's an experienced campaigner, and in this, when you have lost 6 games back to back, yes, one would say that bring back David because you have invested a lot in him. Yes, I would say that play Tim David, but play with him, play Pollard alongside him, because what Pollard will do is he will pass on his inputs in the field, okay, while batting also. So when Pollard will actually retire from, then Tim David will be the next one who will take the reins from Pollard. So I would suggest that play Pollard and Tim David both. Yes, Pollard has his certain weaknesses against the leg spin, particularly his googly flipper and then fast express pace bowlers like Umrah and Lockie Ferguson. So yes, he has his weaknesses and that is exposed. So Tim David can be tried. He did well for Multan Sultans. He has been doing well in the BBL circuit as well. So yes, he is a very good option. Also can bowl a few off breaks like Tilak Verma. So yeah, he's a good option. He can be. I am actually back. I actually want to see more of Tim David in MI colors. And whatever the games are remaining, I think he should be given all the 8 games. So, yeah.
And we hope that really happens because MI really needs a reshuffling here. So, which brings to the next question from Neha from Never on the Back Foot on Instagram, who says that what is the impact of a price tag in auction on players and their mental health in general, and when they are underperforming? Vedant, would you like to take this one?
Yes, of course. Like I've seen people saying like certain player goes for X amount, say it for 10 crore, and then people break it down to the run he scores and the amount he gets for that particular run, which is totally wrong. Like in the present season, if we see there are few players who got big monies, like Ishan Kishan went for 15 CR, Lime Livingston went for 11 CR, and we can see contrasting performance on both these players. Ishan started well, but hasn't flourished after that. That doesn't mean that the price tag pressure has got to him. Rather, there have been some weaknesses in his batting, like the off stump, like the ball leaving him from the outside off stump has troubled him. Bowlers have actually exploited that. That we could see when Pat Cummins did that. And with regards to price tag, if we compare like Jaydev Unadkat case, 2018 and 2020, wherein he went for big money, no one expected. In fact, I think even he didn't himself expected to go for such money. He couldn't perform. I believe Jaydev Unadkat in white ball cricket plays good in domestic games for S mat or for his state side, but in the IPL he doesn't have that. I would say a prowess, or I would say that something like a
Impact.
player which needs spark. Yeah, exactly, spark to get behind the batter, an international batter, right? for
Hmm.
that matter, and for Lime Livingston. We could see that he has been going all out, like batting
Hmm.
with a high strike rate, scoring those runs for Punjab Kings, even after a huge price tag of 11.15 CR, which is a huge thing. So I don't think price tag plays as much role as we think. Like if a player, eventually that is they're professionals and they're here to play the game. They are getting paid for whatever the skills they have. And Ishan Kishan might get dropped from the side and might come in for cheaper price, but that doesn't make him a lesser of a player. So I don't think the price tag actually uh, plays on a player's mind unless and until they haven't flourished or they haven't performed to that up to their skill for a longer period of time. So yeah, that.
Yeah, that's true. So this brings us to our last question here. Uh, so Neha is asking us, how do you all think IPL teams would benefit from having a sports psychologist on board, and how would youngsters deal with pressure situations? Any tips for them? So I feel sports psychologists would definitely help a lot to all the teams, considering the amount of pressure this whole tournament gets you into. And we have seen how RCB has already appointed one, and I hope all the teams does, because it helps you just enhance your performance, stay motivated and focused on what you're doing, and just believe in yourself more. For youngsters, I would say practice in high pressure situations in your practice games. That will actually help you into the field, and also visualize yourself playing your best game under pressure, so that also helps you stay calm under pressure and give your best. So that's about it. This helps us and gets us to conclude our session for the second episode of Weekly Rewind with Beyond the Matches. Please do subscribe to our channel and follow us on our socials. And if you have any questions for the upcoming week, use the hashtag AskBTM and send in your questions for the next week. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today, and I hope you all enjoyed the video.